Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creativity in Business. My name is Charles Theodore Monk, and I will be your presenter today. For those of you who are here, please go ahead and say something in the chat so that I know you guys can hear me, such as hey, hello, or yes, I can hear you. That way I know everyone can hear me. Because let's be honest, it will be just a little difficult to understand everything if you can hear me. All right. So I'll give about another 15 seconds just for everybody who to come in to be able to hear what we're gonna be doing, just to take the time, because sometimes what we do run a little late, and we're not gonna be mad at anyone for that, right? Sometimes it happens, and sometimes we all do run late. So we'll be mindful of everyone's time today. But like I mentioned earlier, my name is Charles Theodore Monk. I'm a Tutlo tutor. I've been teaching for over a year, just under a year and a half, and I've been doing presentations for over a year as well. And let me tell you guys, I love the aspect of the presentations, or as other people say it, the webinars, because it just gives you another learning avenue, right? Sometimes it's all right to just sit down and listen to someone speaking to you. That way, it's more of a lecture basis, like how you would experience in a classroom rather than a one on one conversation. While there are benefits to both, all right, they're both great. But I have also a little bit of a enjoy. I enjoy doing these webinars and interacting with multiple people at once, right? So for today, guys, we're gonna go on for about 30 minutes, and we are going to obviously do our best to get out of here at that 30 minutes mark, which is about 7:30 p.m. you guys' time. Well, like I said earlier, because we do want to be mindful of your time, so we'll stick to our script today, guys. And you might be asking what we are gonna talk about today. All right. Well, simply we're going to talk about creativity in business. We're going to talk about what it means to be creative, some vocabulary relating to being creative, and actually we're going to learn some vocabulary that means the opposite of creative as well. And then we are going to talk about some useful tips on how to be creative, what to do if you're not creative, how to practice creativity. And then we're going to do some exercises as well today to practice what we have learned, right? Because we want to practice what we learn. We don't want information coming in this year and it going out the other, right? We want our information to stay in our head. So that's why we'll practice a couple exercises later on today. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna go on for about a half hour, and there actually will be a time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. So if you guys have any questions you'd want to ask, I'd encourage you to save them to get to those Q&A sections so that I can do my best to answer any question you guys have. All right, so let's get into this presentation, guys, by simply starting with what does it mean to be creative. All right, so creativity. All right, what does it mean to be creative? All right, so someone is saying, is something wrong with your connection? Is anybody else experiencing any issues? Personally, I did the test. I didn't have any issues. Let me know if there's other people experiencing these issues. All right, so until then, I'll continue with what I was saying earlier. All right, so like I mentioned, what does it mean to be creative? So creativity is the use of original ideas and imagination. All right. So simply creating new things, having new products, creating new business plans, simply doing things original and using your imagination. Right. So that means being different than anyone else, means doing stuff a little bit different, or just being different, right? Creativity is being different. While it's okay to draw inspiration from other people, right? When you're doing a business, you're going to draw inspirations. When you're doing things that require creativity, you're going to draw inspirations. Maybe you're going to see something and you're going to say, I like that. But creativity is, I like that, but I'm going to do my own personal spin or my own personal touch on it, right? Creativity is not seeing something and copying it exactly. Creativity, you could get your inspiration from something. Maybe if you're designing clothes, I like the way they do that, but I'm going to change it a little bit and make it like mine, right? Or maybe you want to write a book, or maybe you want to start a business. You're going to see that book or that business and you're going to get drawn to it, right? You're like, okay, I like the story, or I like the business that they have, but I am going to be creative and make original ideas on my own story or my own business, and I'm going to have my use my imagination, right? I'm going to brainstorm, I'm going to think down, and I'm going to think, all right, what can I do to make this more of mine, right? Creativity is not exactly copying another person or another business, right? Creativity, we just want to establish that today, right? Creativity is, it's all right to draw inspiration from other people, but it's important that we remember throughout the day and throughout our life that creativity is our original ideas and our imagination, right? So now that we've established the differences with, being creative and copying other people, would you say you are a creative person? So go ahead and use the chat below. Do you guys think you are creative? If so, say yes. If not, no. If you sometimes are, you could say that as well. Personally, for me, I would say it depends on the situation. I try my best to be creative, and sometimes I do use my original ideas and imagination, while other times I don't. But I do my best to try to be creative. For example, if I am designing something, if I am simply just trying to do something different, I do try my best to be creative. So it's always a good question to ask yourself, especially in the whole topic about creativity in business, right? Well, it is important to just sit down and think, all right, am I a creative person or do I need help? All right. So a couple answers came in. Someone said, think so. For sure. That's great. Someone says, be a creative in the kitchen. A couple of you have said that. That's great. Right. I love good food. I personally like to be creative in the kitchen as well. So it's great to see that you guys do have your creativity. Awesome. That's great. That's great that you guys know that. So before we continue today, guys, we're going to go through our vocabulary section. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some words that are similar to creativity, and then we're going to move on to some words that are actually the opposite of creativity. So first, let's start with the word innovation. All right, so the word innovation means a new product, idea, and creativity in thinking. All right, so what does that mean? All right, so when we are being innovative or something that is an innovation, it's a new idea, a product, and simply creativity and thinking. Like I mentioned earlier, creativity, original ideas, and imagination. So when something is innovative or it's an innovation, as it is labeled there, it's something new, something different, right? Maybe it is a better cell phone, a better car, those kinds of things. See, it doesn't mean that if you create something that is already, if you make a new version of something, it does not mean you are not creative, right? For example, a new iPhone. If you create a new iPhone, it is a new product. You got the idea from the older iPhone, but you put in your new ideas, your new touches, those kinds of things. While sometimes, obviously, it may not be that case, and some things may seem similar. That would be a lack of creativity, right? But if there's obvious changes to something to make improvements, that would still be considered an innovation or you being innovative. All right. Our next term we're going to talk about today is ingenuity. So ingenuity simply means to be clever. All right. So to be clever means to be smart. So when you are obviously creative, a creative mind, or you are being as creative as possible, it's important to have some ingenuity. It's very, very important to be clever or to be smart, right? Because like I mentioned, you want to be different, you want to make sure you're doing things right, you want to do it as good as possible. So being clever, like I mentioned, you can be clever by seeing something and you say, all right, this is going to get popular in the next 5 to 10 years, so I am going to maybe make an investment in the next 5 to 10 years within this company or within this idea or this style. Or simply saying, all right, people are buying this kind of product, so I'm going to create my own version of that product, right? See, so it's very, very important that when we are being creative, that we are clever and that we have some ingenuity in our creations. All right. Now, word number three, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important vocabulary words we'll talk about today, and that is originality. So, originality means something different or unusual. All right, so creating something original, something that is not made before. And this is a huge topic when we talk about business, right? When we are being creative, we want to be original. We want to make things that are different and we want them to be unusual. We want to draw people in by our originality, right? They're saying, hey, you know what? No one is doing things the way your business is doing it, and I like it. See, that is what we want to strive for when we are talking about being creative in our business, right? We want originality. That is a huge bonus for people. All right. And now originality, a word that is very similar to that is unique. So unique means one of a kind, right? Maybe there's a one of a kind car you're making. Maybe there's a one of a kind business, right? Whatever is unique is one of a kind. There is nothing like it. All right. And now another word I like to use is the word exclusive. So exclusive means it's restricted to a certain group. It means not everyone can have this, right? And some of the most creative minds, personally, maybe in something like fashion or design, they make exclusive items, right? It means that only certain people can get it, whether it means they only make a certain amount or they are priced at a certain range, so not everyone is able to get it. That is something that is creative, right? Because it draws people's attention. For example, if something is released, let's say in clothes or in cars, and they all sell out, right? Or somebody's products, they all sell out and there are no longer stocks available for just everyone to go and get, it becomes an exclusive item. It means that we're so creative in your creation that people wanted it so bad that they bought as much as possible until you simply every single thing that you made is gone, right? It becomes an exclusive item. So that's how exclusive relates to creativity. All right. And the last one we're going to talk about is expressive. All right. Expressive means to convey a specific idea. When we're expressive, for example, we could think of art. People who love art, and maybe that could be music, it could be dance, it could be paintings, drawings, whatever it is. Those kinds of things are expressive, right? Artists will put their emotions, their situations, how they're feeling onto a piece of paper or into their dance, whatever it is. It is a creative process, right? Because when people, for example, are writing songs, they want to be as expressive as possible, right? They want to have a specific idea and they want to be as creative as they can when they are creating their piece of art, right? And that is obviously for them. If that's their business, it's good for them. All right. So now, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some vocabulary that is the opposite of creative. All right. So the first one is uninspired. So uninspired means a lacking of imagination and creativity. All right. So maybe we can think of a business that has been around for a long time, but they are no longer as good as they once were, or they're not creating the amount of product that they once were creating. All right. Or their products seem kind of boring, or something could be a new business, whatever it is. But if there's no imagination, or maybe they are copying exactly what other people are doing, it's an uninspired product, right? They don't have any imagination or creativity. The business is not inspired, right? That could be a huge case for in a lot of situations. All right. Next one we're going to talk about is the word stodgy. All right. So stodgy means to be dull and uninspired. All right. It's a little bit of a unique word. You're not going to hear it often, but you will hear it. So if you hear the word stodgy, it is very similar to uninspired, right? It's uninspired. There's no imagination. It's dull. It's boring. It's stodgy, right? We can think of some business, for example. I don't know anyone specifically, but if a business sees someone, or the owner of the business sees someone or something that they like, and they say, I want to do exactly that, that would be considered something stodgy, right? It's boring and there's no imagination because the person is simply copying what other people are doing. All right. And the last vocabulary term we're going to talk about today, guys, is the word cookie cutter. All right. So the phrase cookie cutter means just like everyone or anything else. So we can think of houses. All right. When you go to a subdivision, so that means where people live, or the suburbs, you're going to see a lot of cookie cutter houses, which means houses that look the same like other houses, right? You see a house and the one right next to it looks exactly like it, and sometimes the whole neighborhood looks like the exact same thing, right? That's what it means by the phrase cookie cutter. So when we use the phrase cookie cutter, obviously talking about business, we are saying that everyone is the same. That, right? Someone looks at something and say, I like that, I'm going to do exactly that. That would be referring to a cookie cutter business, right? It could be cookie cutter art, cookie cutter, houses, whatever it is, cookie cutter cars. Anything that is just like anyone or everything else would be considered a cookie cutter. All right. So I hope that was a couple interesting terms for you guys that you guys maybe didn't know or just needed a refresher on the topic. But what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to fill in the blanks. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing a couple exercises. So here, there are sentences where they need us to fill in the blanks. So we have 3 sentences and we have 3 words at the bottom of the screen. All right, and we're going to want to fill in the blank with a correct answer. So I'm going to read the sentence and then you guys go ahead, use the chat for your answers. All right, get involved. I encourage you guys, practice this so that the information stays in your head. All right, so sentence number 1. He likes to have blank things no one has. All right, so our 3 options are cookie cutter, exclusive, and originality. All right, so first one, he likes to have cookie cutter things no one has. Or number 2, he likes to have exclusive things no one has. Or he likes to have originality things no one has. All right, so our answer for number 1 would be exclusive. All right, we can't say originality things. All right, it would be original things. All right. So if it was original, that would be a possible answer, but originality, not so much. All right, so the answer for number 1 would be exclusive, right? Remember, exclusive is things that only a certain group have, right? So the answer for 1 would be exclusive, all right? So now, exclusive is off the board. We're down to our last 2. Let's read sentence number 2. The house is the same. It is a blank. Is it a cookie cutter or it is originality? All right, what would our answer be for sentence number 2? Go ahead, let me know in the chat, guys. What do you think the answer should be for number 2? Exactly, very good, guys. Cookie cutter, right? Remember, like I mentioned earlier, cookie cutter is the same as everything else, right? There's no differences. So like the house is the same, it is a cookie cutter. Very good. And obviously that makes sentence number 3 originality, right? It is important to have originality in work. All right, so that was just a quick little exercise for us to practice how to use the vocabulary that we have talked about today. All right, now we're gonna move on to simply what does it count as creativity. All right, so we're just gonna go briefly over this. We have established this for the most part, but we'll just do a quick reminder. All right, so what counts as creativity? Number 1, different products. All right, when we are making a creative mindset, or when we are in a creative mindset, it is important to remember that we should have different products, right? Maybe we want to, for example, if you're in the shampoo business, all right, how is your shampoo different than anyone else's, right? What is going to make people buy your shampoo compared to everyone else's shampoo? Because there's a lot of shampoos on the market, right? But what is going to make people buy your shampoo compared to everyone else's, right? So our creative minds have to be, all right, how will we make our product different than anyone else's? All right, another thing, a unique business also counts as creativity, right? So making a business not many people have, all right, or no one has, no one's done it. All right, maybe we could think of, flying people to the moon. I don't know, maybe something like that, right? Unique business. We need to have something that's just different, right? That is a basically the a very very easy answer for being creative, having a unique business that no one else has. All right, and to simply the ability to grow. All right, what do you mean by that? All right, so when we have a creative business, all right, when we have a creative mindset, it means we create something that has the ability to grow. All right. So if your business does not have the ability to grow, all right, maybe there is a cause of a lack of creativity. All right. This is one of the things that a lot of business people have talked about, that non creative businesses cannot grow. But creative businesses with creative bosses, with creative ideas, creative teams, those kinds of things have the ability to grow. All right. So if you see businesses growing, if you see them having bigger markets, expansions, and they're just doing really, really well, it means because they are creative. That's what I mean by ability to grow. All right. Ability to grow itself is not creative, but it is a result of creativity. All right. That's something that just to keep in mind there, guys. All right. Now, why creativity is important. Now, this is something we're just going to briefly talk about as well. Most of us already know what this is about, but we're just going to run through them again. All right. So, creativity is important because it opens doors for our businesses, right? What I mean by opens doors, there are new opportunities, there are new things we could do, and there are new things we could experience. Maybe there are things that your business could never have experienced before if it is not creative, right? So when our business is creative, it opens doors, all right? And a lot of businessmen have related that creativity is actually the number one factor to success. It means that without their creative mindsets, they wouldn't have been able to succeed. All right, so maybe we can think about something such as, I don't know, we can think of a business that has, starting to grow. All right, so when a business starts to grow, they become creative, right? And they continue to grow, which leads to open doors. Maybe new business partners, new investors, maybe another store if they're franchising, those kinds of things. And when you continue to have open doors, it leads to success, right? It could be the help that a lot of people say is the number one factor of our success in our businesses. And when we have a huge success, it makes you known, all right? So it puts you on the map, right? Like I mentioned earlier, in the shampoo industry, all right, in the hygiene industry, there's a lot of different shampoos, right? You'll go to the grocery store or you go to the supermarket, whatever it's like, wherever you go to buy your shampoo. You're gonna stand there and you're gonna look in the aisle and you're gonna see so many different kinds of shampoos, right? But then there are those brands that you don't know as well, and there are brands that are super popular worldwide, right? When you are creative, like I mentioned, it opens your doors. You have new opportunities that you didn't have before, and you start to have success, and your success will make you known, right? And when you are known, it helps your business progress, right? Like when you are standing in that aisle for getting your shampoo, you're gonna be able to see, all right, which of these do I know, right? Which one do I know is good? Which one have I tried and I have a good understanding of that they're actually a good business, they're a good shampoo, and I enjoy their product, right? See, creativity, without creativity, your business will not be able to achieve a lot of these things. While they could, it is possible, but creativity is probably one of the best ways for us to achieve those goals or those factors, those things that in our lives that we normally don't get to achieve. All right. Now, we're simply going to think of some keys to becoming a creative. All right. So, this is basically some methods that a lot of people do to have creativity in their businesses. All right. So, number one, have a place to brainstorm. So, make sure you have a quiet place where you can sit down and think, maybe with a team or by yourself, and say, all right, what can we do or what can I do to make our business grow? What are some smart business plays I could make that a lot of other people wouldn't make, right? That is a very good thing to do to become creative. Another thing, have a team, maybe you and one other person or a whole bunch of people on a creative team exploring ideas for your business. All right. All right. How can I grow? What can I do to become more successful? Those kinds of things. And sometimes the greatest ideas start from someone else's idea combined with yours. So it is good to have a team when you are being a creative in business. Another thing, you always want to dream. All right. So never stop dreaming. When you stop dreaming, that is a huge killer to your creativity and your strive to want to achieve goals. Right. So when we are thinking about the whole idea of being a creative, we want to always dream. All right. Never stop dreaming. Never stop trying to achieve your goals. Next one, practice. All right. Which means try things, right? Sometimes things won't work out, but sometimes they will. You never know. So it's important to practice what you are being creative for. Another thing, push through the times. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's not all gonna work out. So you gotta push through the hard times and still push and be creative and do your best and let go of the failures. Forget about them. Use them as learning experiences. All right. All right. That didn't work. So we're going to try this. Give it a try. Don't stop what you are doing simply because of discouragement. Always give it a try. And one of the huge factors to success is learning from others and teaching others, right? When you expose yourselves, you have mentors, you have people in the industry who have been doing it for so long. Go and seek them out, right? Saying, all right, how did you guys do it? What did you do to become successful? What do I need to do that you have already done to be considered successful, right? That is a huge help for a lot of people in their strive to success. All right. Now, before we wrap up, we're gonna do one more exercise, guys. Now, with it, we're gonna have to draw back into our memory from what we talked about earlier, and we're gonna have to talk about three more words: stodgy, innovative, innovation, and expressive. All right. Same thing. I'll read the sentence, and I'll have you guys give me the answer in the chat. So, sentence number one: he is blank and puts feelings into art. All right, so we mentioned a word earlier that results in people putting their emotions into something, right? Is that stodgy? Is that innovation? Or is that expressive? Very good. You guys remember it's expressive, right? Expressive, putting one's emotions into something. Exactly. Very good. Good job. Great job, guys. Number two, Justin's blank product was revolutionary. All right, what do we think here? Justin's stodgy product was revolutionary, or Johnny's innovation product was revolutionary? All right, very good. And obviously, the last one would be stodgy. The date not go well because he thinks she is stodgy and not entertaining. It means she thinks she's boring. She's not as interesting as he would have thought. Very good, right? This is a quick review of what we have talked about today. And like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of our presentation, we're gonna have a little Q&A section. So if you guys have any questions, this would be the time for you to go and ask them. If you don't have any questions, guys, what I'm gonna do quickly is throw up a couple polls, all right? And they simply ask you a simple question. So question one, ask, did you find the webinar useful? Did you learn something? Was there something that you got reminded of today? Simply, did you benefit from coming into this presentation today? And I hope you guys did. Honestly, I really hope that you guys learned something or simply enjoyed the webinar simply as much as I did as well. All right. So now we're going to move on to poll number two, and it asks a similar question, yet a little different. Would you like to participate in a similar event in the future? Would you want to sit in another presentation and spend time with me or with another presenter? Go ahead and let me know, guys. Be honest as you guys want. It helps us know what you guys think of what we offer here with our webinars. All right. So thank you guys for filling out that poll. Before we wrap up today, I simply want to give a quick shout out to our Facebook and our LinkedIn and our YouTube. I encourage you guys to get in touch with the English community. Stay in touch. It will give you extra learning tips on our social media, and it will give you extra motivation because you are surrounded with people on similar goals with you guys. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you guys for coming into this presentation today. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope to see you guys again, whether it's through a private lesson on the Tutlo platform or through another webinar. Remember, guys, we are all lifelong learners. We're not going to know everything, but it's important to strive to know as much as possible and to be creative. So we have our 30-minute mark. Everyone, take care, and I hope to see you guys again. Goodbye.